everyone. Just like I promised, I made a promise that I was going to get deeper into issues of consumer protection. I believe that one way or the other, everyone listening to this video is actually a consumer. You might be consuming a product, you might be consuming a service, but I want to focus this video on terms and conditions of consumers, or better yet, terms and conditions of companies and how those terms and conditions affect you. You might be dealing with a loan company, a microfinance company, a fintech company, a money lending company, an investment company, online investment company. You might be dealing with a lot of investment apps. In fact, there are a whole lot of apps that are flying all around, not like they are flying, but we are interfacing with all of these electronic products, technology products, and we do not, most of the time, take our time to really check out and know what these terms and conditions are actually talking about. So, one of the first things that we'll be talking about has to do with dispute. You never know when things go wrong until there's an issue with a service provider. And much of the time, you don't even know what that service provider has said in their terms and conditions once it has to do with when a dispute arises. So, number one, this is going to be a long one. I'm going to see how I can make it as short as possible. But basically, there's a particular company whose terms and conditions I'm actually reading, and one of the clauses actually reads thus. It says, "Please notify us immediately you become aware of an unauthorized transaction on your wallet by contacting our customer solutions team. Failure to do so may discharge us of any legal obligation or assistance that or any legal obligation to assist you. Failure for you to immediately inform the company that maybe there's a breach on your app, there's a breach on your account, would mean that if you don't inform immediately, that means that the company has the right either to assist you, legally speaking, or not. So it could actually mean that if a reasonable time passes, it simply means that you are on your own. The company can actually say you're actually on your own. We have no business with you. We have no dealings with you. That's basically not the kind of company that you want to be dealing with. But much of the time, we are very quick to just click accept. We don't take our time to read terms and conditions. In fact, I'm going to be sharing a lot of terms and conditions with us that if people actually knew that these high flying companies that we see all around, we see their adverts, we see all the beauty around them in terms of their branding. If you know what terms and conditions you are actually accepting to do business with some of these companies, many of us would definitely have a rethink. So, for example, I want to just ask few questions. One of them is, what happens if you don't receive an alert? For example, if there is no alert, maybe to your phone, and maybe you are not logged into your app. If there is no alert for you to know that there is an authorized transaction, what now happens? What now happens? If a reasonable time passes and you do not inform the company, it just simply means that you may be losing out on having any support or recourse whatsoever. This actually gives companies, that legal environment to be able to absorb themselves from any form of reprimand. You cannot reprimand them, even though you take them to court. You've already signed up to those terms and conditions. But basically, what the courts might actually be looking at, the courts might be looking at few things. They might say, okay, what constitutes a reasonable time within which to be able to report back to the company that there has been an unauthorized transaction on your account. So those are some of the few things that the courts might look at to be able to give a balanced decision or judgment, as the case may be. And also, do you even have enough funds? Do you have enough funds to take some of these companies to court? Can you even afford legal services? And also, in some of these terms and conditions, some of the companies will tell you things like, um, if there's a dispute, you have to go to ADR. We are indemnified for all legal costs, legal charges. It means you are on your own. Any way you want to look out to get legal redress, the cost is totally yours. The stress is totally yours. Any input you make whatsoever is totally yours. So let's say they took out maybe like 20K from your account, for example. Would you now go and hire a lawyer for maybe 100,000 naira, or maybe 200,000, or even half a million to now look for 20,000? I'm just giving an illustration to let you know how dangerous some of these things actually are. In fact, just dwelling alone on this particular clause with respect to disputes, it could let you understand that companies can better have what we call internal dispute resolution mechanisms that are funded by the company, where it's more like an independent arm of that company that looks into customer complaints and all of that. So once you have that within a company, then you are very much rest assured that somebody is actually looking at your complaints from an angle that puts you in a vantage position, rather than from that angle that says if you don't report to the company in time, the company has that right to legally abandon you with your request. And when you get to court, the first thing they would pull out is the terms and conditions for you that you actually accepted. So this is actually a call to everyone out there. If you're dealing with fintech apps, money lending apps, any kind of investment product app online, in fact, there are so many of them, you need to take out time to know the terms of engagement that you have with this particular company. It's very important. There is no point. In fact, this is another video actually. There was a particular terms and condition that I saw that says, uh, if you invest any money on that app and something happens and maybe the investment goes bust, what the company is investing your funds into, they cannot recover that money. It means that you are accepting to say that you have lost everything. Imagine you have 10 million and a clause in an agreement says that if something goes wrong with the investment, that means you don't have any legal right to ask the company to bring your funds back and to make a repayment to you. These are the things that many of you out there are grappling with. You're actually grappling with some of these terminator clauses. I call it a terminator clause because that clause is actually meant to terminate your entire business idea, your entire business acumen, to terminate the sweat capital that you actually have put up to be able to invest in that particular company. And don't forget that much of the investments that you put out there, that is what some of these loan companies are actually using to satisfy loans to people that are collecting loans. Your funds are being used for business, but at the end of the day, if something happens to that business, you lose it all. Then another thing is, you will find companies that tell you things like the NDIC. NDIC has this thing where for deposit money banks, for example, they can guarantee a certain amount of your funds that are in that bank if that banks fail. Don't forget that this NDIC regulation, it doesn't appear to deal with some of these issues that may concern loan companies, fintech companies, online investment companies, because they are not necessarily deposit money banks. So at the end of the day, you are actually flying on your own. You are high, you are dry, and when everything goes down, you are busted. Sincerely, you are busted. So you need to know. Those of you that go into companies, you go and sign one agreement. You need to know what the app agreement is actually saying about the agreement that you signed in the office. So it's very important. I don't want to overbore you guys on this video, but basically, I'm that guy that wants you to have that uh, consumer protection focus. You really need to be focused on that. There's so much to share. I hope to be able to go on live on Instagram, on TikTok, and on the major social media platforms. Let's have these conversations. There's really so much to say about terms and conditions as it relates to fintech companies, money lending companies, online investment companies, loan companies, just name it. Companies that play within the financial services space that are supposed to be regulated either by the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Board, either by the CBN, either by SEC, either by certain administrative structures that have been set up by state governments, for example, because there are some of these mechanisms too that we also need to share and understand about how your money can go down the drain just because you didn't take your time to understand the terms and conditions of companies that you're actually dealing with. I will do my best not to mention any company's name, but my goal here is just to bring out some of these things to share to you and for you to know what the legal implications are. Till I come your way tomorrow, please do have a very wonderful day ahead and see you next time. Bye, guys. Share this video, like this video, drop your comments. Let me know what your experiences are. I would like to share and talk about your experiences. Please do feel free to reach me if you have any issues. I'll be willing and able to assist you on how you can actually move forward. And somebody is asking right there, is it just the consumer? What happens when the company is in a position where the customer, for example, is trying to default with the terms of engagement with the company? How is the company protected? We are going to be dealing with all of that. See you next time, guys. Bye.